this is the 4077th, eh?
Yep, place is like a blind date. Sounds better on the phone than it looks in person.
Sir! Sir, attention all viewers. Tonight's reunion will be MASH. Starring cast members, Alan Alda.
I always wanted to be a doctor. Just ask any little girl I grew up with.
Wayne Rogers.
Feels like it's going to Martini.
Mike Farrell.
Oh, boy, will I be here.
Jamie Farr.
Ah!
No profiles, please. We'll block out the entire stage.
I heard that, I heard that!
Gary Berghoff.
I don't believe it!
Loretta Swit.
Hi, guys!
Hot lips.
Harry Morgan.
Absolutely fan-damn-tastic.
David Ogden Stiers.
The first syllable of Winchester is when.
William Christopher.
This experience has taught me a valuable lesson.
And Alan Arbus.
What's your name, honey?
Hello. Also starring producers Gene Reynolds, Larry Gelbart, and Burt Metcalf.
I don't know how you guys do it.
Special archival interview footage with Larry Linville.
Frank Burns is a lawyer. Frank Burns is a doctor. Frank Burns is everywhere.
And McLean Stevenson.
We really were one big family. Yeah, it's nice having the children all together again.
Plus, all your favorite MASH moments.
Say, you parrot face.
Radar.
MASH 30th anniversary reunion special will now begin.
Here they come!
Look familiar? Hard as it is to believe, MASH turns 30 this year. When the show premiered in 1972, America was fighting a war in Vietnam and dealing with turmoil at home. Who knew what would find an audience? But after a rocky start, the company at MASH 4077 went on to occupy an important place, not just in the annals of television, but in the hearts and minds of America's viewers for the next 11 years. You're looking at a very lucky guy. I was able to be part of the MASH company for 8 of those 11 years. Every actor dreams of being part of a truly great ensemble, and for me, MASH made that dream real. Tonight, for the first time since the show went off the air almost 20 years ago, we're going to get everyone together again and kind of have a party. Hope you'll stick around. It'll be fun.
I can just see all of us 10 years from now sitting at a reunion.
Yeah, the war's been over for a month. We've all got gray hair. Charles has his in a box.
Wait a minute. Why wait 10 years? Why not avoid the rush and have a reunion now?
What was the name of the show again?
Oh, we're rolling, but get more spontaneous.
Before you wrote the pilot,
Wait a minute.
before you wrote the pilot, well, who was so courageous to think that it would make a series?
Well, first of all, we're talking about another era. We're talking about another kind of leadership. We're talking about another kind of less corporate approach to entertainment. And here's Mr. Reynolds to explain what I mean.
Well, I think...
Take it, Gene.
The first surprising move, I think, was made by Fox Studios that said in the middle of this Vietnamese war, we're going to do a show about war. When I first heard about they're going to do a show about a MASH unit and so forth, at that time, I thought it was very insensitive. But then the film came out.
Check this place out. See what the nurses are like.
This isn't a hospital! It's an insane asylum!
And the film did so terribly well that that encouraged them to do the series.
The original MASH.
What we inherited were great characters. Hawkeye and Radar and Trapper and Hot Lips. Those are marvelous characters with wonderful, very complex, very different. So I think that's a big plus for the show.
What are you doing here, Pierce?
Henry, you're not going to endorse this idiot's application, are you?
That's major to you, Captain.
Henry, you're not going to endorse this major idiot's application, are you?
I think you'll all agree that by trying to introduce more discipline, more order, I have hopefully made this a more enjoyable war for all of us.
Doc? Yeah? How come my nurse needs a shave?
Blank papers?
Yes, sir.
That a good idea?
Just cut down on your workload. You sign it now, later you don't have to bother.
But should I have really signed blank papers?
I can't answer that, sir. You're the one that signed them. I didn't.
Well, the first person I cast was Gary Berghoff.
Smart thinking.
Smart thinking.
What a screen test.
He'd been in the feature. That's exactly right.
I got a contract from 20th Century Fox, and I asked them to please make sure that the contract reflected what we had agreed to at the table. And when I got the contract, it was delivered to my home. And when I got the contract, I read, I said, my God, this is better. I get a car, and I get a wardrobe deal for interviews and stuff. And then I looked at the top, and it said Ernest Borgnine.
Did you sign?
Well, I still happen to be under contract at 20th Century Fox.
Really?
Yeah. It's not for a lot. It's to keep my mouth shut.
All the stories from the novel of MASH had been used up in the feature. And so Larry and I devised a plot for this opening show.
What we had to do, essentially, as you do with most pilots, is compress the movie, in a way. Introduce the leading characters, show them in what would be a typical situation, and sort of miniaturize what had been done in, what, an hour and a half into 26 minutes and 20 seconds.
You're both a disgrace to this outfit.
Oh, come on, Frank. We've all had 12 straight hours of meatball surgery in there. My brain is sending me urgent rest telegrams. You must be tired, too, after all that malpractice you put in.
You're dismissed.
Thanks, Mother. We gotta get up early anyway and fix MacArthur's hernia. Come on, Aaron.
Yeah, hi, Hoja.
There was this houseboy named Hojan. And so we thought of the idea of, well, maybe we could find some way to raise money to send Hojan, I think had been mentioned, away to school.
What does everybody want here? What do all these people want more than anything else?
To go home, or Tokyo, whichever comes first.
What do they really want? Sex.
And so we came up somehow with this idea of raffling off one of the nurses for a weekend in Tokyo.
You want to raffle off a nurse?
Is that what I said?
They realized they were kind of in a jam. They're making the money, but how are they going to deliver on something like that? So they rigged the idea that the priest is the winner.
Do I understand that the priest of this outfit has just won a weekend with a nurse in Tokyo?
It's a prayer come true.
And then we called CBS. We called a man named Alan Wagner. We called him long distance. I don't think CBS ever paid me back for that call. And we pitched the idea to him on the phone, the idea of what would be, you know, the first episode. And he said, great, fine, go. I don't think they knew what we were talking about. I don't think they, to this day, they may not know.
When we did the pilot, we were out in the mountains, and we were all wearing... Freezing cold. We were wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Theory. That was always my theory, that you couldn't not be close. We had a huddle together.
We were hugging. We spent that whole week hugging one another, standing by this barrel with the fire.
You were wearing those Hawaiian shirts?
Yeah, we were
freezing.
To the best of my knowledge, the entire outfit is enduring severe hardship due to the lack of warm clothing. Have you got that?
As soon as my hands thaw out, sir. Yeah, I remember that. The first season where we went up until 10 o'clock at night, from 6 o'clock in the morning up until 10 o'clock at night.
What a session. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
It's Friday.
Well, somebody owes us a Thursday.
Either that or 2 Wednesdays.
Bill, you know, Bill came in to read for Mulcahy after the pilot, and he did the unthinkable. He just ad-libbed. He just, nothing that was on the page seemed to find its way to his lips. You never heard of me? Did you ever hear of Who Wrote the Bible?
You know, you can't miss if you've got good material.
Anyway, he just improvised, but he was so funny. So we said, you got the part.
No, he said he went home. Because, Bill, you were just telling this story the other day.
Yeah.
He went home and
thought I blew it.
Yeah, exactly. And then he got a chance to come back.
See? Good guy.
Father, it's cold out there. Want my stove?
Oh, thank you, my son.
One of the scripts that I think Larry wrote, where you had me in this black dress outfit that was zipped up the back.
Cigars, cigarettes, candy, gum.
At the end of the day, final shooting, and everybody had gone home. And I was stuck, the wardrobe and everybody, and I couldn't get out of this black dress. And the show hadn't aired yet. Nobody knew who the hell I was. Right. So I saw the light in the men's restroom, because we didn't have a restroom on Soundstage 9. So I said, oh, there's somebody in there. So I went in there, and there's this big grip there, and he's washing his hands, and I walk in with this tight, you know, black outfit and his hat on. And I said, excuse me. He says, yes. I says, could you unzip me in the back, please? And these great big hands, and he goes, yeah, sure. And he goes, unzips me, and then I walked out, and I said, gee, I wonder what that guy's going to tell his wife tonight when he goes home.
I saw the ugliest woman today.
How could you shame me like that? I'll be the laughing stock of the Nile.
But it was, Fox was incredibly cheap with our show. Unbelievable. I mean, at one point they told us we couldn't eat any more peanut butter at the coffee table. Can you imagine? So there was no more peanut butter. We didn't have a telephone at the ranch for years. I mean, there was no phone. Like, Wayne was going crazy. Wayne had to be on the phone every 5 minutes. The thing is, the fact that we were in a soundstage that was too small, that we had to make do without a toilet, and that we were constantly having to scramble to make it work anyway, to survive. And there was something about that brought us together. And it's something that also happened on camera, because we had it in reality off camera, that was partly due to the kind of difficult conditions we were working under.
Shows with toilet paper are not nearly as tense and alive.
Well, good morning, Major.
Good morning, Captain.
Just a minute. Isn't that Frank's bag?
I thought you were Frank's bag.
I remember the first few scripts that were written by outside writers before we started shooting. There were 4 or 5 scripts that were commissioned. And they were all standard service comedies. They were all about hijinks at the front, marching and people bumping into each other while they were marching, and things that were
What's wrong with that?
But it's not. It wasn't.
That happens.
I know. It is. I like true to life things like that.
Give it another thought.
I thought he'd never leave.
But it wasn't what we found out we could be.
Quite right.
Even though we knew we didn't want to just be hijinks at the front. We didn't have a vision of what it would become.
This is a hospital. Doctors and nurses. Where you have doctors and nurses, you have a lot of operating going on. Some of it even in surgery.
They've totally destroyed my authority with the nursing staff. They have made a mockery of my majority.
What do you know? We're major mockers.
Sir, I have to confess. I'm a communist. An atheistic, Marxist, card-carrying,
Bolshevik.
No, honest.
MASH was not a successful show that first year in terms of ratings.
Well, that's impossible. There must be some mistake.
We were, I believe, number 56 opposite The Wonderful World of Disney. And they were just creaming us in the ratings.
The critics panned it too, but we're trying to judge it on its own merits.
We really didn't hit our stride until we did an episode called Sometimes You Hear the Bullet, in which Hawkeye's visited by an old friend who is a journalist who is covering the war from the Grunt's point of view.
Listen, how long have you two nuts known each other anyway?
What time is it? Right now, 15 years.
No, it's more than that. It was back in grammar school. It's 4th grade.
5th grade, remember? He was a wonderful child. He was a bit of a sissy. But he was one of the great milk monitors I've ever seen.
Well, that was a very responsible position. It was the Depression, and anybody with milk carried a lot of weight.
We establish him as likable, fun, kind of a mirror version of Hawkeye.
But halftime's over. I better get back to the war.
And then later in the show, Hawkeye's called upon to operate on a newly wounded soldier that's brought in from the front. And it turns out to be his friend Tommy.
He take 10 milligrams of morphine, pressure 80/50 and faint.
Henry, I need your help. Got another IV with a large bore needle. Come on, get over there and help me.
70/50. 60.
He's got the aorta. Give me some retraction and suction.
Father Mulcahy, I can't get a pressure. I've lost the pulse.
I'm going to open the chest. Give me a knife. I said, give me a knife.
Pierce, go help McIntyre.
the first time on a comedy, a character who you know, who you come to like, dies on the operating table.
That really opened our eyes to the possibilities of what we could do on the series. It showed us a much wider vista.
That's what it's all about. No promises, no guaranteed survival, no saints in surgical garb. Guns and bombs and anti-personnel mines have more power to take life than we have to preserve it. Not a very happy ending for a movie. But then no war is a movie.
The more we went into that area of what was really happening, what these real people who had lived through the Korean War really went through, the more nervous the network got.
I think we were destined for cancellation.
Trapper, it's over.
I'll believe that when I'm back home refusing my first house call.
And I'm very grateful to CBS. They thought it was a good show, and they kept it on the air even though we were at the bottom of the ratings.
I mean, you guys saved our lives.
And now, on with the secular festivities.
It was the end of the first year when we were having our party, and Barbara and I were leaving early. We had a concert or something, and we said goodbye to you, Ellen, and you said, we may not see each other again.
Oh,
really?
He just didn't like it.
Yeah, well.
It was personal, Bill.
Well, he's sorry.
We're coming back. You're not.
Major Houlihan, it's me, Radar.
Oh, I'm busy right now.
Well, I just thought that you and Major Burns...
Major Burns is not here.
Well, then how can you be busy?
Get lost!
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we get to the end of the 22 episodes, and I think we climbed from 57 to 47. Said goodbye to each other again. But in the reruns, something very odd happened.
People had seen the first runs of all the other shows that were popular. They said, well, let's try out these reruns of MASH. What's that?
I'm not through here.
Then we'll disregard the rumor.
We went from 47 to 18. The second year, Freddie put us behind All in the Family, and they handed us 35 million people on a silver plate. And the rest is history.
Gee, I was standing around minding my own business, and all of a sudden, poof, a star is born.
The way I got it was that Mrs. William Paley, whose husband owned CBS, loved our show despite our bad time slot and despite, you know, the dumping of us in this weird place. And it was a series of pillow talks where she just said, you can't let that show go, you can't let that show go. That may or may not be true.
She had more than his ear, and she said to him, let's keep this show on the air.
Well, the fact is, Fred Silverman didn't just dump it. I mean, in this day and age, you know, 6 shows and you're gone. Goodbye.
When Mr. Paley picked up the phone and said, keep it, you didn't dump it.
I'm sure, yeah.
Colonel Blake?
Oh, Major Houlihan, Major Stoner.
Major?
Major Burns, Major Stoner. Major?
Major Pierce?
Major?
Well, I think we made a major breakthrough here.
Listen, stick around. Make yourself at home. We'll be right back.
Attention, all viewers.
Surprise!
Up next, Hawkeye, Trapper John, and BJ.
Who would name their kid BJ?
Don't go away. That's in order.
Now, take a journey back into the X-Files in the totally new 2003 Ford Expedition. No boundaries.
F.
Hello!
B.
Get me out of here!
I.
Huh?
See how it all ends this Sunday on Fox.
Wherever you choose to travel in the totally new 2003 Ford Expedition. And no matter how unfriendly the traffic.
I'll carry on, carry over, carry forward, carry Grant, cash and carry me back to old Virginia. I'll even Harry carry if you show me how, but I will not carry a gun.
Alvin Sargent, brilliant screenwriter, once said, always put your characters in the place they least want to be.
I could swear I heard a bugle. It is a bugle. Hey, I think we're in the Army.
Do you know, I don't know if who else knows this. We had been shooting for like 2 or 3 months before the show went on the air for the first time. And every day for 3 months, the guy at the gate had stopped me.
Who are you?
Yes? I'm shooting a show here. I'm an actor. I'm in the show. Yeah, who? Who are you? Say my name. Say, wait, go down to the left here. He said, I know. I said, I was here yesterday. You know, every day that would go through this. And then finally, the show went on the air. And the next day, I thought, life will be different now, you know? So I pull up to the guardhouse, and he says, yes. I say, Alan Alda. And he says, Alan Ogre? It took a couple of more months before I could get into the lot to do the show.
War isn't hell. War is war and hell is hell. And of the two, war is a lot worse.
How do you figure that, Hawkeye?
Tell me, who goes to hell?
Sinners, I believe.
Exactly. There are no innocent bystanders in hell.
Hawkeye became a combination, I think, of some of Alan's idealism and activism.
I don't think MASH works without Alan Alda. I think that he brought that intelligence and that caring, that compassion, and the great humorous talent.
Please, you're too kind.
I don't think we would have succeeded in the way we did without Alan Alda.
Good evening, ladies and germs. I'm sorry I'm late, but my watch stopped. It had to. It's been running fast all week.
When I was doing the show, people would ask me about the character of Hawkeye. I couldn't talk about Hawkeye. I didn't want to make it too conscious to myself what the character attributes were, because then I felt the next time I got back in front of the camera, I'd be thinking about what I had said intellectually about the character, and I'd be trying to play that.
How do you feel about Biarritz in June?
Sorry.
Baden-Baden in July?
Mm-mm.
Monte Carlo in the fall?
Afraid not.
How about the mattress supply room Thursday night?
Okay.
I'll bring the saltines.
I thought it was great that he was a womanizer. I thought it was a terrific character thing. There was a lot of fun we got out of that.
We'll play sardines tonight?
Sardines?
My tent. I'll bring the oil.
So why don't I drop over to your tent around 9:30 tonight? I'll bring a canteen of gin and some Fig Newtons, and we'll cheese at the cops.
You should forget about your mind and pay more attention to your body. Or if you don't have the time, let me do it for you.
You're my kind of girl, Nancy. Drunk.
I remember a conversation with him very early on in which he expressed to me his discomfort as a guy who chased women, because that was the antithesis of who Alan Alda is.
I'm engaged to a pilot.
So am I. I just hope it's not the same one.
Hawkeye was a delight to write for because Alan was a delight to write for. I don't think in 4 years I ever gave him a stage direction. I mean, it just bounced off the page the way I put it there, you know?
This is like a painter who has a studio to go to, and every day he gets to paint, and then even if it doesn't go well, the next day he gets to come back and do it again. That frees something in you, and it gives you a chance to feel, well, maybe if I just let myself go, I'll get someplace. So get someplace where I never got before, someplace new.
I just don't know why they're shooting at us. All we want to do is bring them democracy and white bread. Transplant the American dream. Freedom, achievement, hyperacidity, affluence, flatulence, technology, tension. The inalienable right to an early coronary sitting at your desk while plotting to stab your boss in the back. That's entertainment.
Alan was so wonderfully adept at doing these kind of arias, as I like to think of them. It talked about his rage at having to be where he was.
I simply cannot eat the same food every day. Fish, liver, day after day. I've eaten a river of liver and an ocean of fish. I've eaten so much fish, I'm ready to grow gills. I've eaten so much liver, I can only make love if I'm smothered in bacon and onions. Are we gonna stand for this? We're gonna let them do this to us? No, I say, no! We're not gonna eat this dreck anymore! We want something else! We want something else! We want something else!
See, I thought I knew what total commitment was. I saw a total commitment that was totally total with Alan Alda. And you just don't find that kind of commitment very often if it's something to learn from.
No other show, I think, had ever put characters in such jeopardy before. And at the same time, there was this other thing, which was we had people who wanted to explore that.
Watch where you're going. You certainly woke up in your nap cranky. Have a gargle?
Our kidneys, sir. They were fun while they were alive, and so were we.
He and I would practice and rehearse a joke, and if I couldn't make him laugh or he couldn't make me laugh, then that was it.
You use my razor?
I've had several complaints about my armpits.
You've got Field and Stream mixed in with my joys of nudity.
Big deal.
I'd rather see a naked girl than a canoe built in a dentist's garage.
Alan and I used to discuss ways that we could distinguish ourselves from each other so that the characters themselves would have a variance.
I think Trapper is more easygoing and philosophical and shrugs things off.
My character was a little more impulsive.
You dance beautifully.
Thank you. So do you.
You going to be in town for the whole convention?
I like Trapper, though. I thought Trapper was gutsy. I love the show in which he almost kills a patient because he felt that patient, a North Korean, almost killed one of his patients.
That's not what we're about.
The reality of the craziness is juxtaposed against the seriousness of life and death. And you just can't take it anymore, and you go off the deep end. And the way to deal with that is to deal with that with humor. Underneath all of this, these two guys genuinely liked each other. And I think the public saw that. If you want to know how two crazies Alan and I were, after it was shot, after it was poured in concrete, we would go and redo it.
Without a camera.
And talking about the fact that we could have done that maybe better if we did it this way instead of the way that it was already done and printed.
That's all, folks.
Actually, when I came to the show in year 4, Wayne used to come in and redo the scenes that he had done the year before.
I'm still doing that, by the way.
I got a letter from somebody saying I was the greatest, most powerful actor they'd ever seen. They loved everything I did. Would I please sign this picture and send it back? And it was a picture of you.
Well, Captain Pierce, sir, Captain Honeycutt.
I missed Trapper by 10 minutes. 10 lousy minutes.
Captain Pierce?
Hi. Can you believe that?
You couldn't have driven any faster.
I let that geisha take one too many laps on my back.
Pierce, I'm just a little confused.
Hawkeye. And don't let a little confusion throw you, Captain.
BJ.
One of the first things you learn over here, BJ, is that insanity is no worse than the common cold.
The idea of possibly being part of it was terrifically exciting, but scary as hell. I started out being blown away and frankly never.
Yeah, that faded fast, huh?
How is this group of actors going to feel about this interloper coming in, this sort of stepchild? That answer was very visible very quickly. I was welcomed with open arms.
Sorry, Dr. Honeycutt. They made me do it.
BJ. Who would name their kid BJ? That must be some awful name you're hiding if you won't even tell your best friend.
You're such a nudge.
It's Nudge. There, I told you something. Now you tell me something.
No use, I won't budge.
Alan and I kind of fell into the rhythm of a relationship early on.
Tush, Spartacus! You know, this is a particularly good brew. What's the secret?
I used a pair of 1949 sweat socks with matching garters.
No wonder this vintage has legs.
All we knew about BJ was that he wasn't going to be a kind of womanizer and a rake hell the way both Hawkeye and Trapper had behaved. And I thought that was fine. I thought the point was a good one to distinguish BJ from Trapper John.
I kept telling him everything was going to be okay. I never prepared him.
You can't always know.
I knew there was a damn good chance he was going to lose that leg. I just couldn't bring myself to face it.
We've all gotten to be experts at not facing things.
People identify with the idea of having to be away from home, but knowing that there's a job that needs to be done and the willingness of people to separate themselves from their loved ones and do that job to the best of their ability and be crazy and nuts in order to protect their sanity, but to be torn by the idea that they are where they are instead of where they want to be is something that people identify with whether they've ever been in war or not.
Whatever happened to the rules? Let the other guy go first, keep your elbows off the table, share your toys, and life will reward you. Well, life is a crock.
BJ lived in hope that this situation in which he found himself, this terrible circumstance, would end, and that if he continued to do his best to give of himself to the people in need, that he would be somehow serving his wife and daughter as well. And at the end, he'd be able to go home to them with his head held high.
Surprise! I know you'd like to be with the little woman today, but that's something we just couldn't pull off.
Please, BJ, have a seat.
When an actor seriously takes on a character, there is a period of time before you let that character go, and it may be well after the job is over. I don't think I've ever fully let Vijay go, and don't particularly care to.
Attention. Next up,
I knew you'd say that.
Henry Blake, Radar O'Reilly, and Sherman Potter.
Not so fast.
We'll be right back. Don't bug out.
Yes, sir.
The topic for today has to do with the subject of sex.
Who broke my doll? Her.
Sir?
Him's a her, she's a she.
Who's a she?
He is. The only thing GI about me is my athlete's foot. So would you please assign him to the VD tent? Oh. What are you trying to do?
Boy, he could phrase, couldn't he?
He had a tremendous charisma.
Yeah, he really did.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm afraid this is what you call your command decision. It's lonely at the top time. Strictly something for your leader.
Well, Henry?
Oh, golly. Whatever you people decide is fine with me. I couldn't believe that a man that was that inept could function in that job. I thought it was like a caricature rather than a character. And then Gene mentioned to me that what he was looking for was someone who could open a door funny as opposed to opening a funny door.
Why don't you watch? Where the hell?
I don't think any of us can think of McLean without thinking of how hilarious he made us.
Oh, everything's fine, sir. Well, not actually fine. Actually terrible rather than fine. But I mean, everything was really fine before it got terrible.
And he'd come to me, and he'd say, after a shot, and he'd say to me, "Was that okay? Was that real?" I'd say, "Yeah, wonderful." And, you know, I felt embarrassed that he was coming to me, but he was always worried that he wasn't good enough.
Look, all I know is what they taught me at command school. There are certain rules about a war. And rule number 1 is young men die. And rule number 2 is doctors can't change rule number 1.
You believe that?
I don't know.
He did it beautifully. Mac did it beautifully. Only by bent, but not by any training, was he a dramatic actor, you know? He was a great personality.
McIntyre. Well, I checked supplies, sir. It's going to be a big one. They're sending extra blankets, and I cleared all the roads for the ambulances.
So we don't want to block the ambulances.
I'll get on this right away.
All right, let's get on this right away. I learned a lot from Gary Berghoff. You see, Gary had the advantage of having been in the movie. The idea of the double talk was Gary's. There's something inherently funny about two people talking almost about the same thing at the same time.
Yes, sir.
I knew you'd say that.
Now, I remember a story involving Gary and Alan. You were on the bus, and they're taking a woman who's going to give birth, a Korean woman who's going to give birth any minute, and in fact does start giving birth on the bus. And you're yelling frantically, and you're giving him all kinds of instructions, and he's got to help do it. And you're getting, and the baby comes out. I mean, you deliver the baby, and he says, "Oh, ick! I saw her fuzzy wuzzy."
I never said that.
It didn't make it on film, but it was in the Daily.
You just ad-libbed that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Who's for keeping it in?
The first thing I did was dress him. That's how I created Radar.
Radar, you're beautiful. Let me give you.
The kind of sloppy, oversized clothes, the boots one size too large for me.
You don't give a girl a chance, do you?
Glasses, the cap. I picked all those things. The reason why I chose the glasses was because he's supposed to have ESP. Well, you can't play ESP. I think you better forget about the game. But I figured that if he had a problem seeing, he would compensate with having acute hearing.
What is it?
Chopper, sir.
I don't hear anything.
What was that when your pants kept coming down?
I don't know.
It was the shot. We all needed shots.
Orphans were coming in or something, and you had to lodge inside Colonel Pardo's office, and you were just sitting there with this wonderful physical attitude that you had when you were exhausted. You know, as I was taking off my pants, and you were just looking at me, and it made me nervous. But I guess there's a series of outtakes where.
Would you mind? You couldn't stop laughing every time you started to take your pants off. You start to break up.
I don't take my pants off for Alan Alda every day, you know.
Would you mind?
Oh, here we go.
Well, they also serve.
Oh, here we go.
Would you mind? Let's do it again. Please don't cut it.
Okay, here we go. Oh, you want to relax a little while?
I have an appointment tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
I promised my wife I'd never do one of these things.
You sure you don't want me to cut, Gary?
Would you mind turning your head, please?
Because you'd pull yourself together. Say, all right, let's go. I'm ready now. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Would you mind turning your head, please?
Radar, I'm a doctor. I've seen more behinds than you'll ever have.
Do you remember, Gene and Larry, when I asked for a private meeting and...
Sure.
Yeah, many times.
Which one was it?
It was the one where I asked that you give Radar a real name.
Yes.
And then a writer by the name of Perlutsky wrote probably, well, certainly one of my favorite scripts, Quo Vadis, right?
Captain Chandler.
Right, where a wounded soldier who had a head wound came in and some thought he was delusional and he thought he was Jesus Christ.
Yes, played by Alan Fudge.
Alan Fudge, right. And at the very last scene, I asked him to bless my teddy bear.
Bless you.
And he said, and bless you too, Radar. And I said,
I'm Walter.
Bless you, Walter.
What in the name of Marco Blessed Polo is going on here? Get those wounded on the bus. Bring that truck over here for the POW. I love to go swimming with bull-legged women and swim between their legs. Swim between their legs. Mule fritters. Buffalo chips. Horse hockey. Cow cookies. Pigeon pellets. Buffalo bagels. Ho, ho, ho. Holy hemostat.
Harry Morgan is one of the 10 funniest people in the world because he's a wonderful, concentrated actor. He's got a great acting technique, which goes back in so many wonderful films and everything. And we admired him so much before he even came on the set. And then all of a sudden...
I didn't know that.
Well, I did.
Could have got more money.
Harry, tell the Mary Astor
Mary
story.
Astor.
I was going out to visit a friend of mine at the motion picture home, and coming out of the building as I was going in was Mary Astor.
A famous movie star.
A famous
From
movie.
the Maltese Falcon.
And we started talking a little bit, and she said, I saw the match the other night where you were drunk.
And I'll tell you why. Why? Exactly.
And they picked you up, and you said, did I just fall down? And they said, no, Colonel. And I said, I didn't think so. She said, I laughed so hard I peed in my pants.
That's why she was in a home.
No, she was just visiting.
She was just visiting.
A little later.
So I'd like to say that one of the scenes that stands very near to my heart at all times was a scene about saying goodbye, and it was Harry's tontine. The episode, the episode where Harry drank to his...
You were like a house on fire.
Fallen comrades.
The 5 of us made a pledge. We'd save this bottle. Let some legal eagle stow it for us. And whoever turned out to be the last survivor of the group, well, he'd get the bottle and drink a toast to his old buddies.
The scene was one in which there was not a dry eye in the tent. Forget about the rest of the world.
Well, I opened it and drank it to only you guys, you know.
I loved you fellas. One and all.
When we come back, Hot Lips Houlihan, Frank Burns, and Major Winchester. Stay put. That's an order.
But join us in a drink.
Just being in your presence is intoxicating enough, General. I need your help. I'm in trouble. Terrible trouble.
And you, a nurse?
I can remember a show. You had an affair with a general one night. One night.
He had a heart attack. I believe I killed him.
That's correct. You killed him. And you run into the tent and you say,
This is terrible. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before.
I'm sure it's a first for him, too.
Did you try to resuscitate him?
How do you think he died?
I could joke all night long in those days.
It's a good thing I'm a nurse. Hamilton.
Hot lips.
Oh, that thoughtful darling. He knows I love fine leathers.
Major Burns' compliments, ma'am. He's sorry, but he can't keep his date with you tonight.
What date? I had no date with Major Burns. We're just acquaintances. Oh, we run into each other once in a while.
Well, he can't run into you tonight.
You two-timing four-flusher!
Frank.
Very often, Loretta and I'd have a problem when we were acting. We have to literally be serious and stare each other in the eye under a tree, in a grass field, on a picnic blanket with a picnic basket. Our noses 6 inches apart, and I have to look at her and say,
You're really so beautiful the way the sun lights up the hairs in your ear.
Oh, Frank.
Loretta and I would go home with our insides of our mouths eaten out. Try to keep from laughing.
I have nothing. Nothing.
Well, am I nothing, Margaret?
You're a government issue, Frank. You came with my mess kit and my khaki girdle.
So much for Frank Burns.
And after you're home, I'll only be a smile on your face your wife won't understand.
It was so wonderful, so rich, that material.
Colonel Potter, I want to see you.
One step closer and you'll get the whole picture.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
Is it true you might ship us out? The nurses.
It's funny and it's touching, and you see what an army brat she is and how much she loves the military and the discipline.
The service is my life. I was born in an army hospital.
Started in khaki diapers, eh?
The army was all I knew. I had no idea what a civilian was. I thought it was just somebody waiting around for his uniform to come back from the cleaners. When I was 5, I had a crying fit because they wouldn't let me have a crew cut. I was born to serve, Colonel. You must let me.
Being an only child and being a woman, she wanted to be a soldier for her father as well. I mean, I saw all that in that scene, and it touched me. It touched me about Margaret. Oh, sorry, ma'am. Colonel's orders, no personal calls until after 1700 hours.
How would you like to be up to your knees in floor?
What a marvelous combination of power and vivacity and integrity and sexuality and loveliness.
Larry was always kind of deliciously cracked, you know?
Yeah.
You know, smart as a whip, but a little dangerous. I heard him on the phone once with a reporter. He said, there's a little Frank Burns in all of us. Oh, yeah? Well, there is, you know. What, are you so perfect?
Silly goose.
You're not going to like this.
I didn't come here to be liked.
You certainly came to the right place.
Frank Burns is a politician. Frank Burns is a lawyer. Frank Burns is a doctor. Frank Burns is your insurance man. Frank Burns is everywhere.
I'm, cursed with perfection.
You're inconsiderate, insulting with your nurses, bloody arrogant, demanding, distracting, and dumb.
That kind of talk tightens my colon.
He was a highly trained, very good actor who was playing a character that was way over the top, and he gave himself to it.
The idea that Larry Linville could make this guy live and breathe in a way that was convincing was never failed to amaze me.
I'm sick of hearing about the wounded.
What about all the thousands of wonderful guys who are fighting this war without any of the credit or the glory that always goes to those lucky few who just happen to get shot?
On one side, you can be just kind of silly and stupid. On the other side, you have the danger of being very repulsive and ugly. And so you must balance that so it's honest enough to be believable to serve the comedy, to be the antagonist.
Why do people take an instant dislike to me?
It saves time, Frank.
But deep down, there's no real hatred, is there?
Deep down, no. It's just that you're a joyless person, Frank.
I'm from a very strict family. We weren't allowed to talk at meals. We couldn't even hum. Anybody who hummed got a punch in the throat.
That's terrible.
I think that's why I became a snitch, so I could talk to somebody. Some people have said, you know, why didn't the role progress? Why didn't he become more humane, more compassionate, more sensitive, more comprehending, more understanding? And I said, what do you want him to be, Alan Alda?
You don't want to hear about it, Major.
Well, of course I do. We have orders to be compassionate.
What I remember about him, when I think about him, is his sweetness, his kindness. He was a good person to work with.
Larry Linville, I knew we were shortchanging, we all did, that we were making him such a fool, such a buffoon. But it was working, and Larry, there was no squeak to that wheel, you know. Larry would never,
Larry,
you know, he just shouldered on, you know. He was wonderful.
And exactly the opposite of his character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was a pussycat.
Yeah, I know. He's a wonderful guy.
A toast. What shall it be? Something tender.
Something sentimental.
Right. Goodbye, ferret face.
I feel I could be more useful in Tokyo or even the States.
Not to me, Commissioner.
This meatball surgery of yours is causing my skills to deteriorate. They're wasting away.
Don't change the color of your face. I'm out of umber.
When you come into a show that's established and has a reputation, how it affects you personally as the actor.
You think we were cliquish?
I got more and more nervous as the season came near, and the numbers were dismal. Mike intuited and pulled me aside by the coffee machine and said, "Are you worried about the numbers?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't want to be known as the actor who killed this project." And he put his arm around my shoulder and said, "It happened when I joined too. They're off looking at other things, and when they realize that it doesn't reward like this thing does, they'll be back." And within 2-3 weeks, of course, it came back up. Thank you, Michael.
Lovely.
Get me the hell out of here!
Praise be to the god of surgery. We kiss thy hands, your swell-headedness.
Not to be spared, nothing. It's close to China, and I am doing laundry.
We found this at the sumo wrestling matches in Tokyo and thought of you.
Each time we made a change, we said, let's find someone both as the character and as the actor who's totally different from the person that he's replacing.
Burt said, I found a man who is going to be Hawkeye and BJ's intellectual equal, and perhaps they're better in terms of his medical knowledge and his medical abilities. So he's going to be a challenge.
We have met the enemy, and we are his.
As a beginning actor in that group, I'm not proud to say this, but I did do the line count. What am I in? What do I say? How many jokes have I got?
A shot and a beer. That ought to wet the old whistle. Keep the change. Oh, thank you most kindly. Now I can get that operation to the wife.
And then it became, how good are the moments? What's the story we tell? What do I learn? What do I teach?
P.S., you should be grateful that only distance is separating you. My father and I have been 12,000 miles apart in the same room.
Yeah.
When I see the warmth, closeness, the fun of your relationship, where I have a father, you have a dad.
Charles, you never told me anything like this before.
I've never told you anything before.
We did a show where you and I decided to drive him crazy. And it was about losing weight. So we would make his clothing bigger so he'd think he was losing weight, and he'd go out and eat and make his clothing smaller so he'd think he was gaining weight.
I seem to put about 3 inches around the middle.
We just needed a button for the end of the show. And we thought about it and wrestled with it and came up with ideas and couldn't come up with anything. And we called up, and Burt came down, and Ronnie Graham came down.
God bless him.
And we sat and went through the scene, and Ronnie Graham said, tomorrow he gets taller.
You're pompous, arrogant, conceited, and a total bore. But you're all right.
When we return, Corporal Klinger, Father Mulcahy, and Sidney Friedman.
That's crazy. Bless you, sir.
Stand by. Stand by.
Joey Buttafuoco. Available for the first time ever on DVD.
Sorry, baby.
Major to you.
Why, sorry, Major, baby.
Relive the laughter with a complete first season of MASH. Start your collection today.
It's against regulations to gamble with an enlisted man.
You never enlisted, did you, Klinger? And they came for me. I ran like a thief right into Grand Central Station. They trapped me in a pay toilet. Cost them $4 in nickels to get me out.
I love a volunteer. What did you think when you got the offer to do the part?
I was so happy and so grateful because Mike knows the story. I was down to 1 can of tuna fish. That was in my house. I was ready to quit the business when I... See, I had done a show with Gene before. F-Troop. Which is where we first met. I played a stand-up comic Indian like Henny Youngman. You know,
the Catskill tribe.
Yeah, Catskill tribe. I came out and say, take my squaw, please. And, you know, all those kind of today. So then the punchline was the chief of the Hakawi says, don't smoke signal us, we'll smoke signal you, you know. So that was the, anyway, that's where I met him. And so when this part came up, I had no idea. I mean, I didn't have to read for it. He just knew I had to figure it. So called me in.
I saw the bony knees.
Yes.
You know, you did have nice legs. I used to notice that.
Captain, I have the x-rays you wanted to look over.
Thank you.
I wrote the character based on the real-life experience of Lenny Bruce, a comedian who tried to get out of the Navy by dressing as a woman.
As a wave.
As a wave, right. W-A-V-E, for those people who just learn how to spell. And Gene took one look at the page and said, Jamie Farr. And I didn't know who he was talking about. I'd never seen Jamie Farr. And, of course, Jamie was born, unfortunately, to play the role.
Fingernail polish.
Flame d'Amour, sir. And earrings? They match the rings, sir. I'm a symphony in coordination. Corporal Klinger, 36, 24, 36. He never relinquished any of his duties. He never put anybody in jeopardy. I have scruples, you know. Yes, sir. Will do, sir. He was sort of on strike, so to speak. This was his placard. Bow, bow. Obviously, a guy like me is unfit to defend his country, unless we're attacked by the House of Dior. He walked around and displayed his disapproval of being in the service. If you don't throw me out for being a nut, you're nuttier than I am. Sir.
This moron is bucking for a Section 8 discharge, and I want you to help him get it.
Bless you, sir.
It's history, you know. Jamie came in as a day player and stayed for 11 years.
My uncle got out of World War II this way. Keeps sending me pieces of his wardrobe. What love that man has for me.
What a dump.
I had a Betty Davis outfit. I had a Betty Grable outfit. I had a Dame May Whitty outfit. Judy from The Wizard of Oz outfit. Hear that, Toto? Gone with the Wind, a Scarlet outfit.
Jamie is a wonderful actor and was capable of such a range of emotions.
It's my mother. She doesn't know I'm here.
She doesn't know you're in Korea?
I didn't want her to worry. Every day she'd wake up with the fear I was going to die. When I was stationed at Fort Dix, I took almost 100 snapshots of myself, and I've been sending them to her every month. You know, me at the Fort Dix motor pool, me getting thrown out of the Fort Dix Officers Club.
Wait a minute. Klinger, I think I know a way around this.
Alan Arbus, when you were brought in, which show was that?
Radar's
Report. Weren't you in Deal Me In or Deal Me Out? Deal Me Out. Weren't you in the poker game?
Yeah, many poker games.
No, but I think that was your first appearance when he was there sitting there in a red tam-o'-shanter.
You were brought in for Klinger, right?
Yeah, I think that wasn't that the first time that we had.
And when I saw you, I felt passionately in love.
Everybody know Klinger? This is Captain Pack.
Sir.
Major Friedman.
Ah, the psychiatrist.
Still trying to get out wearing dresses, Klinger.
Earrings with a sweater?
Klinger, be creative. I had a young man who claimed to be reincarnated. Said he was with Washington at Valley Forge, and therefore he'd already done his military service.
One of the themes of the show was these doctors would go crazy in order not to go crazy.
In the morning, in the evening, ain't we got fun?
I always felt that Alan understood the craziness as a doctor and loved us in spite of it,
Sure.
and, you know.
He was crazy himself. but he was
Exactly,
happy
yeah.
to see everybody else acting it out.
I didn't think he was crazy himself.
Did you ever meet a psychiatrist that wasn't a little crazy?
Okay, no more mumbo jumbo.
Sidney, what's the psychiatric basis for gambling?
Sex. My, how you've grown. Seems like just this morning you were a little girl in Mary Jane. Sex is why we drink. Sex is why we give birth.
Thank you, Doctor.
I'm taking a $5 chip. That was a house call.
Alan Arbus was so convincing to me that I would sit with him between scenes, and I would talk about psychiatric theory with him.
You are very smart, Friedman. I told you.
My daughter had a minor operation, and the surgeon came into the hospital and started to talk to me like a doctor. Now, that's crazy. He was using all these words that I had no idea what they meant. Fondling your chips is very infantile. Now, Sidney.
What I remember as Alan's first line in the show as Friedman.
Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice.
You know, that was not a written line. That's just something in the culture, you know?
Yeah, vaudeville thing.
But he gave it just the right kind of shruggy delivery.
And when we did the final episode, I made sure that was the last line he said in the whole series.
Oh, great.
You know, I told you people something a long time ago, and it's just as pertinent today as it was then. Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice.
I remember one line you wrote for me, which had to do with putting a plastic Jesus on the dashboard or something, and I wasn't sure that Mulcahy would say that, and I said something to you, and you said, well, if you don't want to say the line, we'll give it to somebody else. And I said, it's a good line. It's a good line.
Oh, my dear, I can't wait to see you, but I'm here in South Korea.
Diva retractor. The curly thing with the curl.
I do give them complicated names.
That's the cross we bear, Father.
Father, we got a guy that says he's Jesus Christ.
Have you lost your mind?
Knock it down his throat, Bobby!
Oh, is that nice?
Well, I got 10 smackers writing on this. Calm down, son. Everything's gonna be... Oh!
I'd like to help you there, Father, but I'm sterile, you know.
I think he sort of walks a fine line, and he tries to make sure that he's doing his job, and there are times when he's not even sure what his job is.
I'm angry with the fools and dolts and dodos at the Pentagon who have more points on their heads than the building they work in.
Someone once asked him what MASH was about. He said, it's about a priest in Korea.
Dear God, I've never asked you for this before, but if you're going to take him anyway, please take him quickly. Confirmation is my middle name.
Oh, bless his heart. We used to do Bill Christopher Sandler-like moments around the table.
Well, this jocularity is most unseemly. How can you make jokes at a time like this? Oh.
And somebody has broken into the sacramental wine.
Jocularity! Jocularity! I'm here to entertain the troops.
The Hollywood parade during the first, it was the first year?
Yes.
Yeah, the Santa Claus parade. It was a bitter cold night, and we are all in the Jeep. And Bill, fortunately, had brought some holy water. And it was in a sizable flask, I might add. And Bill had partaken of the holy water prior to arriving so he could get into character. People saw us, he was blessing people. Bless you, bless you. And as we passed by this one couple, I heard this older lady say, oh, isn't that terrible? That poor priest is just drunk out of his mind.
And he who blasphemeth against the Holy Spirit, better that man had never been born.
We're a little late, so good night, folks.
Next on the MASH 30th anniversary reunion,
Give it to me straight. I can take it.
more war stories.
You can't miss if you've got good material.
Stay where you are.
Let's go.
That is all.
For the past couple of days, I've been making some very careful observations. There's a war going on here. The question always comes up, was the show about the Vietnam War really, instead of the Korean War, which is when the period during which it was set. Well, what was it in your mind?
It was a show about all wars.
That's what I thought, too.
Exactly. Thank God you were doing the show.
Research was a part of my
style of producing.
Doctors who'd been in a MASH hospital in Korea, they were invaluable to us.
As a writer, when you walked into MASH, you got a ton of research to take home, all these transcripts.
First-hand experience from doctors, nurses, chopper pilots.
Information about Korea, information about the Army, information about the war. It was amazing how much stuff.
Gene and I, after the second year, we went to Korea and spent about 10 days at the original 8055, which is the fictional 4077, and we talked to a lot of people there and brought back a lot of transcripts, which served as fodder for future scripts.
Attention all personnel. By direction of the Secretary of the Army, the Meritorious Unit Commendation is awarded to the Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, 4077 Unit.
The 8055, where I was assigned, received the unit citation for handling 5,000 casualties in a 2-month period. This meant, at times, they were laying all over the place. Couldn't keep up with it. I don't know how these surgeons kept up with it.
Ah, sweet Marie of life, at last I found you. Can the balloon juice, Pierce?
It was war at its worst. There was a lot of suffering. A lot of people died in Korea.
Uh-oh. Choppers. Ooh, they sound loaded.
Let's go.
I hate this place.
We used to transport the very seriously wounded by helicopter to get from the front lines to our hospital. So we were right there.
Pierce, I need you. 2 seconds. 1 would be better.
I said, this is going to be terrible for me, but I don't know how I'll ever get used to this.
Look at this. Oh, God.
The doctors examined them before they came into the operating room, and some of them were, I don't like to even say this, but they had no chance of survival, so they would see who had a chance, and they'd send them right in from there.
Orderly, help me with this man, please.
The OR scenes in the TV show are very realistic. I have some pictures of those, and you'd think it was, every time I show those pictures, they say, oh, it looks just like MASH. They were very similar.
Doctors that we had interviewed over the years, we used to say, if you're ever in Los Angeles, come visit us. They would all say it was absolutely uncanny, the similarity. I mean, it was really spooky for them. It was like they were taken back in a time frame to relive that experience just by coming out and seeing the compound.
In the show, the doctors used to have the tent, they called it the swamp. Well, we had a swamp there. And once in a while, you would get invited, and it was a pleasure. It was an honor to be invited to their tent. They would have cocktails.
Haven't you two anything better to do when you're off duty than to lie around and swill gin?
Sir, I have sipped, lapped, and taken gin intravenously, but I have never swilled.
They'd have IV poles strung up with martinis in it.
You really can't drink and do your lines. It just doesn't work. So everybody thinks there was gin in the still. There really wasn't.
There was a lot of vodka, but no.
You're here.
Colonel?
Yeah.
Sir, you better look at this.
In 1951, we were taking care of a lot of soldiers from Heartbreak Ridge. One soldier came through with a large wound of the chest wall.
Pierce.
The X-ray showed an unexploded shell. The commanding officer and one of my friends, Joe Amante, also scrubbed in with me. And the 3 of us did this surgical procedure in an isolated part of the MASH tent.
Sponge.
Sponge.
Boy, this is one hot potato. This kid can't be 18.
The genesis of that was research, finding out that at times the surgeons would have to deal with someone brought into the OR with actual live ammo in him.
Easy.
We got it out. We gave the shell to the ordnance people, and they took it outside and exploded it, and that was that.
Okay, get it out of here.
The fact that real people really lived through this horrible thing. Gene and Larry and Bert interviewed the doctors and nurses who lived through it, and I remember leafing through those hundreds of pages of interviews and seeing how other writers had bracketed sentences and paragraphs and gotten whole shows out of those anecdotes.
You know, from those black binders with all of this research material, An audience knew we were telling it like it was.
They were there to save lives. That was the prime concern of the MASH unit, and I think the show tried to show that. They never forgot that there was a serious side to the war.
You lost from your unit, or you're trying to see the world on $5 a day?
I remember talking to a doctor from whom I got the story. It was happening in Vietnam, where guys were flying off of carriers, doing strikes and coming back and landing on a carrier. And in Korea, of course, the same thing existed. Guys would fly across the Sea of Japan, do a strike and so forth, come back and land in Japan. And so the pilots were not in touch with reality. They were up there at 10, 12, 15,000 feet, whatever. And they never really knew what was going on down there, not really. So we had this pilot who was shot down, carried into a MASH camp, had a problem with his leg, and he was tended and so forth. And he let go the remark about saying, well, he says, I'm in Japan, he said.
Well, I tell you, if I couldn't fly, I wouldn't touch this war.
Which was a really contemptuous remark and so forth, and Hawkeye led him through the post-op.
What happened to her?
Somebody dropped a bomb in her village from an airplane. 8 years old.
And there he saw the reality of the trauma, and that was that cured him of his contempt.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. 20,000 feet is a long way to come down.
The writing is often, predominantly, very sly. I don't think anybody in this room, I dare say no one ever called this show amongst ourselves a sitcom. Never. You know, it was MASH.
The MASH program enabled the people back home to understand the frustration that doctors and nurses and other technicians went through.
Every month there's a new procedure we have to learn because somebody's come up with an even better way to mutilate the human body. Tell me this, Captain. How the hell am I supposed to keep up with it?
I'm only...
If they can invent better ways to kill each other, why can't they invent a way to end this stupid war?
Not every kid goes back to Bloomington, Illinois. 50,000, we left 50,000 boys in Korea. And we realized it was right for the show, because the premise of our show was the wastefulness of war.
Well, it's me. I got good news, honey. I'm coming home.
Gene and I planned the episode. Jim Fritzell and Everett Greenbaum, themselves unfortunately gone now, executed the script.
Abyssinia Henry was a very, very funny show, and also a very meaningful, very significant show in the history of that series.
Now, Lorraine, don't tell anybody. We'll just walk into the country club Saturday night, start dancing, and let them all cheer.
Somewhere in the middle of conjuring up that story, it was not thought of to begin with. And I think it was either Fritzell or Greenbaum said, I think Henry should go into the Sea of Japan. And as soon as he said it, we all realized that it was right.
Something that happened between McLean Stevenson and myself at the moment that you brought the final scene down where you killed off his character. And we were on our way to the dressing room when Larry, you, and Gene stopped us and said, we have this other scene that we would like to do.
I took the cast aside and said, there's one more page. And they looked at it, and Gary looked over at McLean, and he said, you son of a bitch, you'll probably win an Emmy for this.
And McLean said to me, remember the promise we all made to each other, that we would not do a television series that made war seem like it was a Hollywood movie. Good guys die in war.
And so they took their places, and they did it, and Gary was, as he usually was, magnificent.
If that's my discharge, give it to me straight. I can take it.
I have a message.
And so it didn't take a lot of summoning up. He was really using the experience.
Lieutenant Colonel, Henry Blake's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. It's Bunyan. There were no survivors. I was vulnerable. I was tired. We were all very tired. And I was very sad about McLean leaving. I mean, I felt like I was losing a brother.
And then we panned, and someone off camera dropped an instrument, a medical instrument, and there was a clank. It was wonderful. I just sort of brought everybody back to reality. And then we cut, Pan continued to to the two guys, and they kept operating and sort of looked at each other and then went back to operating because what else could they do? They couldn't bring Henry back, but they might bring back the guy on the table.
MASH 4077 bids Henry Blake a reluctant and affectionate farewell.
When we return, favorite shows remembered.
Oh, yeah?
Stand by for more of the MASH 30th anniversary reunion.
Right? We were talking about you.
All your family wants this spring is a little more time together. Good luck. That's why there's America's Choice National Family Share Plan from Verizon Wireless. Get 2 separate lines for only $55 monthly access and 4,000 total airtime minutes nationwide, all with no roaming or long-distance charges. And get 2 Motorola V120C phones for only $49.99. Perfect for someone special in your family.
Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Can you hear me now? Good.
By Ocean's 11 now on DVD and video.
You're either in or you're out.
The guys
Can you check the batteries?
who took the house
You're a thief and a liar.
are coming to your house.
Exactly.
Ocean's 11. Buy it now on DVD and video.
This is my grandpa. Give him good food and good people, he'll charm you all night. So we took him to Olive Garden for the chicken and shrimp limone. It was perfect. Chicken and shrimp tossed with pasta and a white wine lemon sauce. Plus all the salad and breadsticks you want. Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Fox Tuesday. It's Jackie and Kelso's biggest decision.
Let's get married.
You want to get married?
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
And Eric and Donna's moment of truth.
We should be together.
That 70s Show season finale, all new at 8 Fox Tuesday.
Sunday after the X-Files. Bad credit. Be careful you don't get scammed. This woman paid $650 for a loan, never got a dime, and wound up with a stolen identity.
Somebody could be out there using my name.
It's a Fox undercover you can't afford to miss. Sunday on the Fox 10 o'clock news.
Y'all ready for this?
Get ready for the selection, the value, the style. It's Toyota's nationwide summer event with 18 models to choose from, including Camry. With a starting price less than last year's model, it's easy to see why the Detroit News called it the car of the year for 2002, and why the New York Times says Camry's the gold standard turned platinum.
Y'all ready for this?
Get the Toyota you've been wanting now. We're ready. Are you?
You've got better things to do than think about your long-distance service. That's why at Verizon, we keep things simple. Take our timeless plan. It's just 10 cents a minute all the time for all your domestic, direct-dialed long-distance calls. With no monthly fees, no hidden charges, no surprises. Just call 1-800-865-7210 to keep it simple with a low, flat rate anytime. So you never have to worry about what time you call. There are no calling restrictions. Call who you want, when you want. How easy is that? And you can get it all on one bill, local and long distance. For straightforward long distance with no monthly fees, call 1-800-865-7210 today for the timeless plan. And spend your time thinking about something a little more important.
Verizon.
Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me.
3 hours ago, the enemy, which prefers to attack at dawn, did just that, about 18 miles north of here. The wounded have been arriving ever since.
Heads up!
Interview, yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, Gene and I had seen, and Bert, we went to CBS and watched the Edward R. Murrow visit to
See It Now.
Korea. See It Now, which actually, you know, it was real. And we said, let's make a show that mirrors the Murrow experience. The network's big concern was that we were doing it in black and white. Yeah. They thought, you know, America was going to tip over because everybody would run across the room to adjust their nuts. It was Gene's idea. Remember, we gave you all 20 questions or so and said, write your responses to these.
You got a little woman back home?
I'm married, yeah. Laverne Esposito. Terrific gal.
I don't believe anybody had done that in television up until that time.
It was a wonderful experiment.
We gave them certain questions, as I say, but then other questions were a total surprise to them.
And we ad-libbed the answers from our characters.
It's some of the best moments because it's startlingly real. You're seeing a person really think.
Can you describe what you do?
Essentially, I'm on call for all medical emergencies, but I've never seen a situation here that wasn't an emergency. I did 3 amputations before I had my first breakfast here.
Fleet Roberts, a quite well-known and highly regarded newsman, came in and actually did the guy who came into the MASH and interviewed each of us.
Do you agree now with romanticizing war?
You know, I used to love reading Hemingway because he wrote so well. But now that I'm here, I can't understand why anybody would willingly go to a war.
I remember when Mulcahy gets the question, how has it changed you? How has life here changed you?
When the doctors cut into a patient, and it's cold, you know, the way it is now, today, steam rises from the body. And the doctor will warm himself over the open wound. Could anyone look on that and not feel changed?
That was not from me. That was something that you fellows put together. And Larry, you wrote...
we didn't get on camera and do it the way you did it.
Well,
I mean,
No, but that was something that a doctor really said.
That line is a line that was in one of the research books, and it turned into what I've often said is the best speech from the whole series.
Oh, yeah.
About the scripts, I think one very constructive thing that we tried to do, I think, each time is let's try to do something different.
I mean, you can't change what it's about, but you can change how you tell what it's about.
Remember Point of View? It's a prime example of going radical.
That's very good. All right, we were talking about you. Okay, what I have to do is I have to get the shrapnel out of your neck. I'm going to put a tube in so you can breathe easier.
David and I wrote an episode called Point of View, which was seen through the eyes of the patient.
Private Rich, glad you could make it. Let me introduce you to the rest of the band.
And when it was filmed, Charlie Dubin did a great job of directing it.
That worked very well. It was really a good challenge and fun to do, and it came off quite well. Didn't win the Emmy, but was close.
Who directed that?
I think I did.
Why don't you close your eyes?
Hey, come on. Everything's going to be fine. I promise. Come on. My memory is that we changed the form, changed this whole storytelling form radically 2 or 3 times a year.
No.
But maybe not even that much.
More.
More? Really?
Truly, truly true. Watch the first year. Watch the second. I mean...
I hear it's good.
I'm sure you did.
Alan, you wrote some very unusual scripts that were...
Well, I mean, the door was opened by Larry and Gene for us to be able to rethink it completely, to come in from an angle that nobody had ever come in from. The Dreams one, I think of the Dreams one a lot. Dreams is one of those shows that I think about when I think about how we had the chance to do really different things. I had wanted to write a show called Dreams for a while. These people under all this pressure, what kind of dreams would they have? They would have dreams of longing, nightmare dreams. Some of the blood and the severed limbs would be haunting them. And what would that be like? And then what's the connection between their dreams and the reality that they have to go through? We all knew we were trying to tell a story in a way that was so different we might fall on our face. Boy, those times when we knew we were telling a story in a way that nobody had ever tried to do on television before, you could just feel the interest and the excitement around the set. And it was as though we were starting out fresh as kids again, and we had done, 100 shows already.
We were able to capitalize in that sense often. There was the story in which Gary had left the show, and BJ's daughter called you Daddy. And that just drove him nuts.
Sweetheart, it was really funny. When Erin first saw Radar in his uniform, she ran up to him and said, "Hi, Daddy."
Out of the mouths of babes comes drollery.
You were so devastated by the realization that your child was growing up and had no sense of who her real daddy was.
You're wasting your time with that stuff. I can tell you from personal experience, it won't work for long.
Really?
Yeah, it may get you drunk, but it won't get you home.
Oh, yeah?
What are you doing?
Just trying to...
you know, to get an opportunity to delve into those aspects of a character is, well, certainly not done in situation comedy, but rarely done even that thoughtfully in any kind of dramatic situation.
Radar's home, Hawk. I should be glad for him. But I'm not. I'm so torn up with envy, I almost hate him.
For me, it was an example of the kind of very felt response that we got from the audience. Quite different from a great show, a lot of fun, I loved the show, but this was a personal response.
Yes.
And that was one of the great pleasures of doing it.
I've been gone so long, Hawkeye. A lifetime. Aaron's lifetime. If I go home tomorrow, I'll never get that back.
Attention viewers. The war is over! Stay tuned for the final days of MASH.
Goodbye, everybody.
That's the sound of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes ago at 10:01 this morning, the truce was signed in Panmunjom. The hostilities will end 12 hours from now at 10 o'clock.
Where are you headed, soldier? The war is coming to an end. Everybody's on stage with the finale.
We said the one thing we wanted to absolutely make sure we had was an ending episode, an episode where we got to say goodbye to each other as actors, to each other as characters, and to the audience.
You holding up okay?
All things considered. Most things considered.
Everybody wanted to be able to have a connection to having worked on that final episode. So Alan became the through line, and he wrote from beginning to end. But each of us, whether we were individuals or a team, would get together, and I'll take acts 1 and 2 with Alan, you take acts 3 and 4, etc., so that everybody got that opportunity.
Those POWs are locked up out there like sitting ducks.
Father, come back here! Father!
What I wanted to do was to see if we could figure out what effect being in Korea had had on them, what effect the war had had on them. And what I thought would be interesting to show was that each of them had been wounded in some way. Emotionally, Mulcahy lost his hearing, and they had to cope with that when they went back.
We wanted to make it an episode that would really put an exclamation point on the end of 11 years. And I think we tried to make it just as real as we could, as we always did.
I can imagine how difficult it would be for Alan and the writing staff to find a story for each of the actors that would allow them to detach.
What happened to the other people in the truck with him?
He's the only one that made it this far.
Wasn't even a soldier. He was a musician.
Tell the truth about who they were, get them out of the camp, and severed.
We'll never see each other again.
Look, 1 year, Aaron and Peg and I'll come east.
1 year.
Yeah, and we'll get together and...
Have dinner.
Yeah.
In other words, goodbye.
It's not goodbye.
It is goodbye. Say goodbye. What's the big deal? Just say goodbye.
What do you want me to say it for?
Because it shows you know I'm going. What would you do if I was dying? Would you hold me and let me die in your arms, or would you just let me lay there and bleed?
What are you talking about? You're not dying. You don't even have a cold.
Come on, just a little so long.
I'm gonna get back to the OR.
Goodbye.
It's 1 minute before 10 p.m. We can still hear the sound of nearby artillery. At some point during the next few seconds, the guns should go silent as the ceasefire officially goes into effect. That's the sound of peace.
Bert said something. He said, this is the hardest job I've ever had in terms of keeping actors from crying.
Yes.
Keep telling actors they shouldn't cry.
Right.
The scenes we all had wherein we said goodbye to each other.
So long, Francis. You've been a godsend.
Well, look on the bright side. When they tell us we have to do time in purgatory, we can all say, no thanks. I've done mine.
There were a lot of tears shed that day because everybody knew that the war was ending, but also certainly that this series was ending.
You'd do a scene and somebody would say, cut, print. It was one step closer to the end of something that had been absolutely the most wonderful thing that could happen to any performer.
I know you've got your career in order, but don't forget to have a happy life, too.
Oh, dear, sweet man. I'll never forget you.
There was something about the fact that we all knew it was the end, including the audience, that no matter how funny it was, there'd be something bittersweet about it, I think, because it had meant something to all of us. It had become a part of the culture. It's an extraordinary experience to have gone through.
Well, boys, it would be hard to call what we've been through fun, but I'm sure glad we went through it together.
I miss you. I'll miss you a lot. I can't imagine what this place would have been like if I hadn't found you here.
This was one of the most profoundly moving personal experiences of my life. I feel like I gained a family by coming to the show and somehow never lost it.
One of the things I always loved about the show was the fact that it never talked down to the audience. And I thought that that last shot in the movie where you pulled away and the goodbye written in stones was our way to say goodbye to the audience. Goodbye and thank you. There's never enough time when we're together. 20 years, 30 years, seems like yesterday. MASH may have ended in 1983, but the children and grandchildren of our original audience have seen to it that the show has taken on a life of its own. Translated into 15 languages and embraced in over 25 countries around the world. I don't exactly know the secret of our success. None of us does. But we know that thanks to you, we were part of what was a truly remarkable experience. And that's a privilege for which we will always be grateful. Thanks for being with us again. Good night.
We have several people missing, and I would like to make a toast to all of them who made this possible for all of us.